Well, welcome back. It's so good to be with you again. This is a rather impromptu video. Last week I did a video on a PowerMac G4 gigabit Ethernet that I had picked up on eBay for a very, very inexpensive price. Uh, Only because there was a password on the user account and the seller had no idea what the password was or even what the name on the user account was. Now that doesn't matter to me because I would eventually wipe it clean and reinstall anyway, so I didn't need it, but I picked it up. All right, now I booted it up this afternoon. I had a little free time planning to do that. And before I wiped the drives, I took a little bit more in-depth look around and found, man, there was a lot of personal data on that machine, an awful lot. So I wiped it clean and was about to start to install Tiger, just so there'd be an operating system. There are two internal hard drives, a 30 gig and a 40 gig as memory serves. When it occurred to me that I had made a FireWire installer drive, I did a video on that too, where I put installers for OS 9, Panther, Tiger, and Leopard. Now I've used both the Tiger and Leopard installers, but I had not used the Panther installer, and it's a kind of interesting one. All the others I got, I created the drive from images taken from legitimate install CDs or DVDs. The Panther one I did from a DVD image taken from an internal Apple DVD to install Panther. So I thought, we'd go ahead and install that. And since it is a little different, I have no idea if it's going to be any different from a perfectly normal Panther installation, but I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. Now, let me, full disclosure, this is my second effort at doing this. I booted the machine up, holding down the Option key with the drive plugged in, and of course there's no operating system on it now other than the installers. And it just wouldn't boot up. Now, I've known that, usually with sawtooths, but I guess it can happen with gigabit Ethernets as well, that they get touchy about loading the boot manager. So I tried to boot into open firmware, holding down Command Option OF. Nothing. I tried booting it, doing a PRAM reset. And basically, it was as though the keyboard wasn't there. So I plugged in another keyboard and bang, there it is. I don't think there really is anything wrong with this keyboard. We'll find that out. But anyhow, I now have an Apple Pro keyboard. It's the ones that originally came with the Bondi Blue iMac G3s. So we're going to hold down the Option key. The nice thing about these keyboards is there's a power key on the keyboard. There's the chime. I did not plug in speakers, so sounds are going to be a little weak, but that's okay. And we got the light on the monitor. And here's our boot manager. All right, now we have to wait for the wristwatch. And there we go. Click on Install Panther and boot it up. Now, I'm just going to let the camera run through this. You'll get a picture of how quickly this goes. Now, if it takes longer than I am anticipating that it will take, I can always speed it up or cut it or whatever. But it is pretty amazing how quickly these FireWire installations tend to go. Certainly in comparison with a CD. You know, here that's true already. You know, we'd still be waiting, so we can select English and continue. Gotta read the packages, that should go pretty quickly. And continue. And continue. And continue. And agree the second time, because they always ask you to do that. All right. Now, these are two separate drives, a 30 gig drive that originally hosted the Tiger installation that was on there, the one that we couldn't boot into, and a 40 gig drive. My plan is to put Panther on the 30 gig drive and Tiger on the 40 gig drive. So we'll select. Okay. Continue. Now we want to customize. We are going to install the BST subsystem. We do not need to install additional applications. We do not need to install printer drivers, additional speech voices, language translations. The fonts are, you know, usually language fonts as well. So we will grab X11 because X11 is fun. Now, this brings down our total installation to 1.2 gig. This should fly. All right, we install. See you at the end. Look at that, time remaining about 3 minutes. Now, that may or may not be true, but it's only been running for 2 minutes now. always wondered at that. Processing Asian languages support. Now, I specifically declined. Okay, I guess it has to process what's on the disk, whether it installs it or not, because Java 2 was in the additional applications. The dreaded less than a minute. I made that 5 minutes. So we'll get the restart now. Now, I'm going to have to stop the clip just as the intro video starts. The only copyright strike I have ever received, I know there was even a strike because it came out before the video was even released, but it was on the music for the Panther intro video. So it's just about to start, but you can see how incredibly quickly this installation has gone. So yeah, as soon as the video starts, I will stop this and we'll pick it up again when we're on the Panther desktop. Unless it doesn't play the video, it is Apple internal. Nope, it's going to. All right, see you soon. Well, okay. Welcome to the Panther desktop. I have done a little bit of customization off camera. Most significant thing probably was changing the screen resolution to something that would be sensible. But we can take a look about this Mac, and we've got Mac OS X version 10.3. Now, you didn't really miss that much with that intro video. It's probably the weakest of the intro videos in my humble opinion. And you can find, there are several people who have put up collections of all the intro videos on YouTube. So if you really want to hear it, be my guest. 2 gigabyte of RAM. I did have an extra 512 gig module to put in this. And we can see, of course, those are now all reading. Yeah, it was actually faster RAM than what was originally in here. It's DIM 3. This where I actually put that. Okay. Yeah, this doesn't have as much information about things, certainly. For instance, it's not telling us anything about the graphics card. I don't really remember that. Airport card will tell us there's nothing there because there's nothing there. Firewire should show us the installer drive, which is still on there. Yes, it does. Okay. And thus far, I have found nothing on this that is any different than you would find in a normal Panther install. So the installer itself just did a perfectly vanilla installation of Panther. However, if we go into the installer and check out this Welcome to Mac OS X, and probably the most interesting thing, well, there are a couple of things. I'll leave that one. All of the language files are all in there. We look in utilities. Now, this is interesting. This is actually OS 9 stuff. I'm not quite sure why that was included, but it is. But probably the single most interesting thing in this, I've looked through a little bit, Apple internal use software. If we go here to Macintosh software, there is just a ton of extra software in here. Microsoft Office version 10 is on there. That's the same exact Office as Office 2001, which was the last version to run on OS 9. This is just ported over. I do have to put OS 9 on here. I will do that. Classic. Is Classic not there? No, Classic is there. It won't do anything because I haven't put a system folder on it yet. Stuff it. VPN. Transmit. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that does not come with your average OS X Panther installation. All right, now just as an example, the only one that I actually installed, AppleWorks 6, which is a carbonized app, so it runs on either OS 9 or OS 10. It's exactly the same program, but it does run, thanks to the magic of Carbon, natively on OS 10, and continued to all the way up, I think, through Leopard. You could still use this, but they didn't ever port it at all to operate on Intel machines. All right. Fascinating, fascinating. Now, the other thing to note, as I pointed out, it is 10.3, not updated at all. And if you click Software Update, you'll see the problem. It's going to tell you that the software is up to date. Well, of course it isn't up to date. You know, there are... Panther topped out at 10.3.9. From Panther and earlier, Apple moved the update files. They are still there. There's an Apple Update archive page, and it can take you forever to scroll down through and find all of those updates, but Apple does in fact still host them. So I'm going to take a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I think as far as this video, we can end it here. I just thought you might want to look at the Apple internal installation of Panther. And here it is in all its glory. In any event, be good to other people. Be good to yourselves. Take good and careful care, and we'll be right back with you soon. So you're not cheated from a welcome video, here's the Tiger, which I have just installed in this machine. Believe me, this is a far superior welcome video to that of Panther. Okay, so I'm going to set up Tiger, then I'm going to boot back into Panther. I've got a couple of things I wanted to show you since the last clip, so stay tuned. Tiger is all installed. I booted back into Panther just to verify that yes indeed I have run the combo update to get it to 10.3.9, which works just fine. There was something I wanted to show. Going back into this, you may recall that in one of the last clips, I was a little surprised at seeing Classic. So I went down and checked to see if, gosh, you have to install Classic? Well, no. If you click on it, you open a DMG. We'll skip the verification. You've already done this. And in that DMG is a complete, though bare bones, OS 9. It's general OS 9 content. Which you can then copy over. Now, desktop folder and trash are hidden when you do that, but you can just copy them over. And yes, in fact, oops. Let's go down here. Show all the installs. Oh, yeah. Get that out of the way. Okay. It should be bootable. Since this is a machine that can boot into OS 9. I wonder if it's going to do an OS 9 welcome. I doubt it. That'll be kind of cool, though. Bonus welcome video. Oh yeah, I am going to have to adjust the monitor. And here we go. Booting into 9.2. Which you can use as you would any OS 9 installation. You can install apps. You can do all kinds of things. There we see the two drives. It should eventually show up the FireWire drives. But here we are about this computer. 9.2.2 with the Mac OS ROM 10.2.1. It's showing the 2 gig of memory, although common wisdom is it will only use 1.5 of those. Doesn't seem to like the mouse. Yeah, it's interesting. It's usually when I boot. That's not what I meant to do at all. When I boot into OS 9, one of the first things I have to do is go into the monitor preferences and readjust because it's all shifted over. In this case, you got OS 9 taking up the entire monitor screen, although it did have to stretch the desktop a bit. But anyhow, I thought that was a very cool thing, because I mean I was just going to go ahead and install OS 9 as I ordinarily would, but no, it's built right into that that internal DVD. Well, anyway, I've already given you my parting words, which to sum up is just be a good person, and I am very sure that you all are. Take care, and we'll be back with you real soon.